Perfect. It's 12 now, but maybe give it a couple more minutes.
Sure.
Is it just the three of us so far?
We've got Patty, Haley, and Grace online as well. It's now fourth. We're on now. 6. That's good. When's coming in?
I'll go ahead and set up my cover slide here for your intro. There we go.
Perfect. Alrighty. It'd be a good time to give your. So my name is Abby, and I'm happy to be here with you all today. We have an exciting session lined up featuring insights from an expert in our field who is here today with us, Thomas Young. Thomas is the founder of Intuitive Websites, which is a company that is dedicated to helping businesses achieve marketing success through innovative strategies and cutting-edge technology. So before we get started, questions, feel free to put any in the chat and we can try and answer those at the end of the webinar. Also, if you would like your website to be evaluated by Thomas at the end of the website or the end of the webinar, you may put that in there as well. And we are recording today's webinar, which we will be able to distribute to you after.
It's a pleasure to be here, Abby. And also thanks to Philip Thomas as well for inviting me. Abby, if you're ready, we'll get started.
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. So today we're going to talk about digital marketing in the age of AI, how to get your brand found and how to get your message heard and how to get your message engaged with by your targeted market. And once again, thanks to Boston Business Group and Philip Thomas for inviting me to do this webinar. Let's jump in with a key point that I want to make from the webinar today, and that is that awareness fuels growth. As marketers and as business leaders, we need to have these insights to drive growth for our company. And in fact, when we get these kinds of insights, we grow faster than competitors. It's basically a fact that people that pay attention to their digital marketing, to their website traffic and their social media and so forth, they reach their revenue goals faster than those that don't. And in fact, when you track the KPIs of digital marketing, you're going to go faster than competitors. Now, the challenge is doing it right and getting it done in such a way that drives that growth. But I'm going to challenge you that the first step is just being aware, just asking the questions and being aware. And then what you're going to find in today's presentation is that the right digital strategy comes from content resources and really understanding the personas and what they want from your content. So that's major takeaway number one, is that awareness fuels growth. And we're going to give you lots of awareness today. The second key point is that AI is causing a marketing revolution, and we need to be on board with AI and how it can support our growth. AI allows you to move faster, it allows you to be much more targeted, and it allows you to do things that your competitors just can't do if they're not using tools like ChatGPT. There's a reason why it's one of the fastest growing technologies in history, and it's powering so many things. In fact, AI is kind of out of the news cycle now. We don't hear about it as much, but it's powering everything. All the new technologies that come out from apps in our car to apps on our smartphones and our computers and so forth are powered by AI. And for you as a marketing professional, AI is here to be an enhancement of what you already do well. A lot of folks are thinking that AI might replace their jobs. It's not going to replace your job. It's going to give tons of rewards to people that know how to use AI to enhance what they already do well. And the key point here as well is that a lot of people aren't using it. I speak to Vistage groups all around the country, and I still get a lot of hands that go up for companies that are not using AI in their marketing. Well, as of today, that's going to change for us because we're going to find tools to use AI in our marketing and get results. In fact, what we're going to do today is not just talk about AI to transform your digital marketing, but also give you a process to put marketing into. You have great processes at your company, and we want to have great processes for digital marketing. We're also going to look at a few websites today after the training portion, and I'm also going to show you how to use ChatGPT to solve problems and get great content. We're going to focus on ChatGPT 4 for this presentation, and you'll get some great takeaways. And then the slides will be online soon, and we'll also send you the recording along with all the notes that we write up in ChatGPT. All right, let's talk about the players in AI. This is a great starting point. We feel like ChatGPT is still the best resource. It's backed by Microsoft, so it's really a Microsoft product, even though it was developed by OpenAI. And there's a lot of interesting things happening around ChatGPT. It's improving all the time. The team at Intuitive Websites, my agency, we just got on board with the team version of ChatGPT, which is fantastic because it allows you to collaborate as a team, and all of the information coming out of the tool for your company is built upon so that the ChatGPT even gets better as it starts to learn your business. So that's a great new tool. The other great tools that are out there is Google's version, which is called Gemini. There's an up-and-coming version that's very scholarly called Claude AI. And then we've got to keep an eye on X.AI, which is the Elon Musk version of AI. And Elon Musk is a force to be reckoned with. So when that version comes out, we need to see what it can do as well. Now, I did, Abby, notice that somebody raised their hand, so we may have a question in the chat box.
Looks like they said, can you move slides ahead?
Can I move slides ahead? Okay, let me ask a question, Abby. Can you see my slides? It should be saying the players in AI.
Nope, it's still on your home screen.
Okay, let me go and see what's going on here. I'm going to stop share and bring it back because on my screen, I can see it moving.
Okay.
Now, is that better? Do we see it now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm going to share the slides with you as well so you can see what I talked about. But mostly everything I mentioned was in the slides, so you didn't miss anything. But let's keep moving. Now I'll go to the next slide and let me make sure you can see this one. Did it change?
Yep.
Okay, good. So let's talk about the process of digital marketing, because even if we're going to supercharge our digital marketing with AI, we've got to put it around a process. So you have great processes at your company. Let's have a great process to do digital marketing. And this is the process that we've come up with at Intuitive Websites over the last 20 years of doing this work. And we've presented this to hundreds of Vistage groups. Step one is strategy. Step two is the communication of that strategy to drive engagement. Step three is inbound marketing tactics to draw people to your brand. And step four is measuring all this work so we can focus on what gives us a good ROI, focus on what works, and improve what's not working. So these are the four steps. Let's jump into each one in a little bit more detail. Let's start with strategy. So in this call today, I know there's folks that have done marketing for many years, and there's folks that are fairly new to marketing. But this is a great core concept of strategy, and that is the translation of what you do well. So whether it's a reminder for you to do this or you're just learning this for the first time, we want digital strategy to be the translation of what we do well, the value that we bring to the marketplace. And where we start with this is to take your marketing vision, the goals and plans that you have for your company, and convert those into a strategy. And that strategy is going to be built on a competitive analysis. If we're going to execute on a vision, we've got to know what our competitors are doing. We've got to know what the personas that are going to come and buy from us, what they're experiencing digitally as they make a decision to select us. So competitive analysis is key for that. We also need to know what the sales funnel is like. And I worked with a lot of CEOs in Vistage, and they tell me they want to grow their company. And when I hear that, then the message back to them is, if we're going to grow your company, we've got to grow your funnel. And if we're going to grow your funnel, we've got to know what the conversion points are in the funnel and how that funnel works and operates. Now, many Vistage companies get repeat revenue from referral sources and loyal customers, and that's fine. But growth generally comes from people that experience your brand for the first time. So we've got to talk about that when we talk about the communication of value. And one of the great ways to communicate value, especially to new markets, is to talk to your current market and ask them why they buy from you. In fact, there's a great question you can ask your current customers, and that is this: what are the 3 reasons that you buy from my company? When you get those answers, then you'll start to get a sense of what your translation of value is. And you'll find that many of the answers are a lot more simple and clear than you ever thought. And you'll also hear reasons that people buy from you that you did not expect. So we want to get that target market feedback. This then it starts to comprise what the translation of real value is. And this is where we start with digital strategy. Now, we can take this a little bit different. Now, Marketing 101 is how are you different and better, And so if we go a little deeper into the translation of value, you want to understand how you're different and how you're better. And that's great. All companies want to do that. The challenge is in today's competitive landscape, it's hard to be different and better, right? And so how can we do that? Well, generally, the way that your business operates, the way that you do business, the processes you bring to your company are going to be unique to you. And this gives you an edge. And this is something that translates into value for customers. So we've got to talk about this. And of course, your people drive value. So people at your company have to write content and be on your website and your About Us page and so forth. And it's critical that you talk about why you have your business, why you're part of your business. What is the value and mission of your company in connecting with customers? That's a key point that you want to communicate in your digital content. And the reason this is so important is because you will engage like-minded customers with this content. You'll also attract great employees to your business when you talk about why you have this business. And we also want to be thinking about where do you fit in your customer's life story? How do you function as a guide in your customer's life story? We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. How does AI support you with this translation of value? Well, AI supports you by understanding the benefits and risks that you bring to the marketplace. In fact, ChatGPT can create fantastic benefit checklists that you can use in your content. I'm going to show you examples of that later. It can also talk about the risks and objections people have in moving forward with your company. It also gives you these insights to gain a competitive advantage, to stand apart in your marketplace. And it can help you get inside the mind of your customers. So the reason that ChatGPT is such a great tool for marketing is that marketing is about story. You are telling a story. You're creating a story about your brand. You want that story to connect with customers. ChatGPT is a great resource for creating stories. It's always not so great, around history or data or facts or information, but it's great about understanding stories and getting inside the mind of your customers. The best marketers on the planet live inside the head of their customers, and that's where we want to be. And then we can take AI to write executable marketing plans, which basically is a task list. It creates a checklist and a task list of things we need to do to connect with our target market. So that's the lightning round of strategy, the translation of value, understanding the benefits you provide your target market. Once we have that, we now have to communicate those values in the preferred method that our personas want to take that content in. And I want to cover some of that with you now. So we communicate in 5 key areas. The first way that we communicate is with the written word. This hasn't changed for many years, but people still take in most of their information through written content. But what we need to do better at, most of us, is the use of headers and taglines, because people take in content first in key messaging, and that key messaging is going to be taglines on your homepage, headers of content, and so forth. And then the depth of content is what we need for that online researcher and for Google, right, for our SEO. So think about content in layers. Think about it at headers and taglines, and then depth of content. Most of the Vistage websites I look at can improve at how they use headers and taglines. Of course, graphic design is a way that we communicate. We want to communicate with our graphics in ways that appeal to our target market, not our internal designers and internal teams. We design for our target market. If our website is easy to use and our content is easy to interact with, and we have great usability, then we seem to be an easy to work with company as well. In fact, consumers report all the time that if a website's easy to use, they feel like that company's easy to work with. Video is critically important because many folks online take in the majority of their content through video. And whenever they want to go into depth of content, they're going to watch videos. So videos are critical and you should have a video budget for this year and for next year for sure. The cool thing about video is that not only is it super informative, the costs have come down dramatically. And you can use AI to help you with video scripting and video outlines. So that if you find a good video producer that has good lighting and good editing, we can produce cost-effective videos that people will watch. And think about videos as something that helps your target market do their job better or enhances the quality of their life, right? Videos aren't necessarily about how great you are and how great your company is, but it's more about how you offer help to the people watching that video. And then finally, you communicate through website tools and applications. How people can interact with your website and the tools on your website is a way that you communicate value. So we need to have a plan for these 5 areas. And if you're a marketing manager or director listening in, put this in your marketing plan. How can we use these 5 areas to better connect with our target market? And if we want to connect with people, we need to know their user intent. And in fact, all marketers really exist to get inside the head of customers. And so we have to understand user intent. And when you can combine understanding of user intent with great content and an easy to use website, then you're going to maximize your conversion rate. That's called conversion rate optimization, CRO. If you can maximize conversion rates, then you grow your funnel. And this is at the heart of growing your sales, which is usually what your CEO wants or what your company is trying to accomplish. So for every web page and for every piece of content that you produce, have these concepts in mind. It's not so much that the content is king, it's that understanding user intent is king. In fact, what do users want? When they engage with your content, what do they want? Well, number one, they want to solve a problem at work or they want to enhance their lives. And the better we can understand the problems they're trying to solve, the better we'll get them to engage with our content. Because they want to see information, they want to research products and services, they want to know what your pricing is. So as much as possible, it's important to talk about pricing and price ranges. They want to, of course, save time and money because that's what the internet is for. And they want to know how to contact your company or the people at your company. And these things sound so straightforward and so common sense. But if you go look at your website with a real critical eye, many times you'll find that this information's not there. And this is what people want, right? They want to be able to easily find a way to contact your company. And we know what people want because we can see how they use your website. And we know they get an instant impression of your company. We know they start in the upper left-hand corner and move across the website. You can see that because we can heat map web pages and see it. We know they read taglines and headers before they go into more depth of content. And we know they look at photos and that photos are generally looked at before videos are looked at, especially on a website. So we want to, as much as possible, have great photos of you, your company, your customers, your marketplace, your market segments, and as much as possible, use captions or taglines and headers with a photo to tell the story of that photo. People tend to ignore ads and marketing-focused content, and they quickly move to navigation menus. So a big takeaway from today is to simplify your navigation by including 4 key areas. And those four key areas are, number one, products and services. All websites should have a link to products and services. And I know you're probably thinking, well, Tom, of course our website has that. But it's not always the case. Many websites have links that are called solutions or have no links to services at all. We want to have products and services in our navigation menu. We also want to have a link to an About Us, and this is where your company-focused content goes. We want a link to resources because we want to be a thought leader and our resources express our thought leadership. And then the last, of course, is contact. All website menus should have a link to contact because that's for people with an intent to contact you who might become a customer. And then finally, keep in mind, when you heat map your website, you'll see that a lot of key areas might be missed by folks. And then that's where those headers and taglines come in because we want to capture people's attention. Now, we have a great resource for getting people to engage with content, and that's the book, Building a Story Brand. There are many books out there now on the use of story-focused content in marketing, but this is one of my favorites, and Donald Miller was a pioneer in this space. People will connect with content that connects with their own personal life story. And also, as humans, we're trained to understand story. We have it challenging sometimes to remember facts and information, but man, can we remember stories? And that has to do with the way we're wired as people and the way we've developed as humans to tell stories to understand about the world. So get this book. This is a must-have book. If you haven't read it and you're in marketing, then you're behind, right? You've got to get this book. And what I'm going to do today is summarize some of the key points of the book, because I think it's so important that you should know these things. So point number one, clarify your company message. If people don't understand what you provide as a service or product, they can't buy from you. And there's a big problem we have as marketers and as operations folks in our company is sometimes we're so close to our business, it's hard for us to see how people look at our business from the outside looking in. And so a clear, straightforward company message is critical at the top of the funnel for people to engage with us. Also, a big takeaway from today is that we are not the hero rescuing our customers. Our customer is the hero. We are the guide. And because we're the guide, we have an offer for them. We have an offer for them that helps them defeat their villains and cause change to happen. Now, that offer generally comes in the form of a plan or a call to action. And once again, I mentioned how processes are so important at your company. Those processes are the plan and the call to action. That's why people are, that's why you're appealing to them as an option to help them defeat their villains. And then all buying should end in emotional success, right? All buying is emotional. And when folks follow this process, the end result is that they're happy that they picked your company to do business with. This is at the core of StoryBrand. And at the core of making this work is to use AI to find those benefits and risks. Because the core of storytelling and clarity of message is clarity in communicating the benefits of buying from you. We can also use AI to create that first draft content for the online researcher that wants to see you as a guide. We can create content from multiple channels. We need to know what channels our consumers are in. We can also write middle of funnel content and prepare webinars and tech papers. This is content that people are likely to give us an email address. So once we have that email address, then we can market to them and nurture them. We can also use AI to write PHP code for your WordPress website. And that PHP code can do things like digital tools and calculators and apps and whatever tools might help engage folks and better yet, capture an email address. And I'm going to send you these slides because I want to train you on how to use prompts in AI to start this process of writing story branded content and better engaging with our customers. So these are some of the prompts that we use in Intuitive Websites all the time to start marketing plans and marketing discussions and help us set marketing strategies. It allows us to move so quickly and to really hone in on some amazing checklists that we would not have had otherwise. Okay, so step one is strategy, the translation value. Step two is the plan for communicating to the world that strategy and using story branded techniques to make that happen. Step three is inbound marketing, proactively building that funnel and attracting people to your brand so that you get found as people research solutions and people research ways to enhance their life and solve problems they're having at their work. And what we can do with inbound marketing is have an infinite audience of one. And this is how you have to think about your marketing, that intimate connection with the personas we identified with content they want to read. The old-fashioned way of marketing where you did shotgun approaches to an audience of many, those are gone. We're giving people very personalized content today because the old funnel just doesn't work anymore. We can't go out and prospect and try to make things happen. This is, the old way of kind of shaking the trees, getting people on the phone, and then asking them questions to try to qualify them. This just doesn't work anymore. The new funnel is much more about customized content to generate leads so that people can use self-service qualifying techniques, right? They can pre-qualify themselves in their research before they talk to a salesperson. And then, of course, we have ways of staying in touch with people and moving them through the funnel. And in fact, a big takeaway from today, this was an integral part of your digital marketing plan, is to create that customized funnel for your business. And for many of you at the top of the funnel to drive inbound marketing, we're going to be doing these things, SEO and blogs, having great websites, pulling offline marketing onto our website, into our social media. This is at the top of the funnel. And to grow your company, to execute on a marketing vision, we've got to grow the top of the funnel. We need more researchers. And we have to find ways then to move them to the middle of the funnel. This is where a lot of Vistage companies struggle, right? Because this is where the work comes. But it's a good thing we have AI. AI can really help us execute on these things and move very quickly. Once we get people to engage with our content, then we want them on a call with the sales rep, and the sales rep can start to then qualify them as to, are they a marketing qualified lead, which means they're in our target market, but they're maybe not ready to buy yet, so we need to stay in touch with them. Or are they a sales qualified lead, which means they're ready to buy, they're ready for proposal, bid, quote, estimate, and we need to nurture them with a sales rep, with a personal relationship. And then this course then drives the customers. Now, for most Vistage companies, we want to take this funnel and use it to find new targeted customers, new referral sources, and folks that aren't part of our current funnel. And I also want to give you some of these funnel conversion points. And what I've seen in my years of working with Vistage is that if you have more visitors to your website, you have a larger company. Same thing with your social media. If you have more folks interacting with you in social, then you're going to have a larger company. And if you look at your competitors that are larger than you, they have those two things. A big missing part of that is to make sure we have a way to capture email addresses. The most important way to capture an email address is through subscriber growth from an email newsletter, which you should have on the footer of your website, and with gated content for an ebook, for a webinar, event registration, a technical paper, a white paper, anything we can do of value to capture an email address. This then will lead to web form submissions. We all must have web forms on our website, and then that leads to a scheduled call with a salesperson. So as you start to outline growth for your company, the growth will come in improvements in these funnel conversions. And then, of course, AI is a great tool for us to supercharge this, because what we can basically do is use AI as our own personal sales funnel consultant, and we can engage with the tool to find out what those milestones are in the sales funnel, to ask questions about how we engage folks with our content, right? And how we can dive deeper into moving people through the funnel. Now, one of the best top of funnel tools that's out there is the Google Search Console. Some of you might be using tools like SEMrush or Moz, but at the core, this is a key top of funnel conversion point. About 50% of your traffic will come from Google if you're in B2B. And so you've got to understand the Google Search Console, because that is the top of the funnel as far as Google is concerned. And then another great tool is HubSpot. HubSpot is great because it nurtures people in the funnel, and it gives you the insight to how people are functioning in the funnel, so you can find what areas need to be improved upon. So I mentioned early in the presentation that awareness drives growth. So if we don't have this kind of awareness through tools like HubSpot, it's hard to drive that growth. And when you see gaps, like this gap here, you can ask questions. Well, why such a drop-off between leads and marketing qualified leads? Well, in this case, this client attends a lot of trade shows, and they come back with a lot of business cards from those trade shows and put them in the system. But then it's hard to get those folks from the trade show onto a Zoom call and a follow-up call. So now that we know the problem, we can find ways to improve it on it, right? And then we can measure what's happening and drive growth. We can also use AI to build that loyal following, because if we're going to get people in the funnel and nurture them, we've got to build a loyal following. And to build a loyal following, we've got to know who those followers are. We've got to get inside their head. And one of the fantastic ways to use ChatGPT is to create personas. Now, a persona is a fictional representation of your ideal customer, and you can build multiple personas with ChatGPT, and then we can use AI tools to find them based on the content that they read, the channels where they hang out, and the search terms they use in Google. The cool thing about ChatGPT, and it's almost scary, is that once you put the right inputs in, that persona can be honed in on very, very tightly, and that persona can match your best customer. And then we can write the content they want to read, display it to them when they want to see it, and then nurture them in a digital marketing funnel. I would encourage you, all those folks that are in marketing on this call, to start writing those personas and then start putting your awareness around capturing those personas on your website, in social, and through email marketing. Now, be sure you understand personas from a psychology focus as well. You need to know that people want to trust your company. They want to know that you care about them as people. You have empathy for their situation, and you understand what they're going through. Because they're using digital content for value. They don't want to be sold. They want to solve a problem. And they tend to believe what they want to believe. So if you can get on board with that and you have a match with what they're looking to do, they'll be your best customer. And also, it's important to note that they're looking for a connection with a person. They want to see that people are writing content on your website and that you have thought leaders at your company. All right, so I'm going through a lot of information, and I know that this can feel overwhelming at times, but I'm going to share all this with you. And in a few minutes, we're going to come and look at a few websites, and we're going to look at ChatGPT. But I do want to stress that we've got to try to keep all this simple. As best we can, we've got to keep our digital marketing efforts simple. The reason being that we know that simplicity drives results, and we can see it with Google. One of the world's most popular websites is still the world's most simplest website. And that's for a reason. Google has had this website for 20 plus years, and they're scared to death to change it because they do not want to lose all the traffic they're getting for free. Nobody has a contract to use Google. We all choose to use it. So they've kept it simple, and they dominate search because of that. Whereas websites like Microsoft's Bing struggle with market share because their site is more complex, harder to use, and it's always busy and cluttered with a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to give you a few rules of simplicity because these are things you want to take back to your company and make sure that this is driven in your business. And number one is that talk to your customers. Find out what simplicity means for them. You need to know what pain and problems they're trying to solve. Focus on 3 messages at a time on your landing pages and test these messages. Get data and feedback on them. And then understand that if you do these things well, you move people through the funnel because you're matching that user intent. And the rules of simplicity really start with the homepage tagline. When you look at your website after today's webinar, make sure that your tagline, this is the message that's in your homepage banner, that you're using clear, concrete, direct words, that you focus on benefit and pain, that you make it part of your homepage design, keep it to around 12 words, and think about the 10 out of 10 rule. And this is that anybody that reads your tagline understands what your company does and can make a referral to you, right? They may not be in your industry, but they can refer someone to you. That's why that homepage tagline is so important. And one of the things I see in my Vistage talks is that people confuse slogans with taglines. A slogan is a marketing focused phrase. It generally goes with a logo. It's something that gets people excited. It drives energy around your brand, like Nike's Just Do It. But it's not really a tagline. A tagline provides clarity to what you do, right? Now, we know Nike and we know that Just Do It means, but if this was a brand new brand, we'd need that tagline too. Otherwise, we wouldn't know what we're buying. Same thing with Apple. You know, they've got a cool slogan, think different, but this is what their tagline would look like. So don't assume that your customers know what your company is because of a slogan. We need that tagline to give that clarity and message so we can move them toward purchase. Now, one of the things I get asked about a lot in my talks is, what is the future of SEO? What is the future of Google search? And the future of Google search is going to be more AI-generated searches. And that's already starting to happen as people use these tools to get more information. So for your website to get found in AI tools to come, and as Google makes more of a shift toward AI, we've got to focus on content that does these 4 things. This is even more important than ongoing coding. I mean, once you cover the coding of your website for SEO and that is all set, the richness of the content has to come first. And that is going to follow this idea of experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And this is a combination of things. It's a combination of content that shows your thought leadership with content that shows how your brand has gotten traction in the industry, what your brand has done, showcasing projects you've done, and so forth. This is what's going to drive growth for you in AI searches to come. The one thing I would add to this is a slant toward local, which is including where you're located, so that when someone's searching in the Boston area and they're looking for a solution in New England, you're going to come up, right? So that needs to be relevant in your site as well. And it's a pretty straightforward formula here. More content on your website means you're a larger company. So we must have a plan for ongoing content to our website in the form of blog posts, content pages about our products and services, depth of content in the About Us page, and depth of content in the resources page as well. And this is data from Google. Once you do these things, you will see more traffic come to your site. And it's all going to tie into AI searches to come as well, because AI is going to crawl your website, look for that experience and authority, and then show you in the results as needed. Okay, we've come to step 4, which is the final step of the 4-step process. And this is the measurement and driving the ROI. And we still see this today. Even some of the best marketing companies on the planet still struggle with step 4, right? And I want to encourage you to get these metrics in place. Now, step 4 starts with excellent project management. Now, we use a process called growth-driven design. You can Google it and learn more about this. It's based on the principles of agile project management. And this is about driving results faster based on data, removing the pain from website design because it is a process for continuous improvement. So what that means is your website's never finished. It's not a brochure going to print. So it's better to launch the site and make it live when it's better than your current site than to wait to get approvals from everybody to review every single piece of content, which we still see going on all the time. So once you get your digital marketing as a process for continuous improvement, you'll see that websites don't have to be so painful. We can launch the site, get data, and constantly improve it. And I'll send you the slides because these are the key metrics that you should be tracking. If you're not tracking these metrics, then we're missing some KPIs for your business. So make sure you're monitoring this data. You can use tools like Google Analytics 4. There are tools like Agency Analytics out there that also put this in a nice, clean, easy to read format. So I want to talk about digital marketing budgets, and the reason being because I want to give you an example of how to monitor ROI. So I run an agency, and we've been doing this for 20 years, and we have employees and contractors. We use contractors all over the world. So we know what it costs to do this work. And whether you go internally or externally, this is about what you will pay to do digital marketing. Now, if we're going to pay this kind of money to get work done, we need to be able to measure the return. And let me show you in a nutshell how to do that. I'm going to use a real life client of ours, Wiggum Law. Wiggum Law is a tax consultant based in Atlanta. They do a lot of tax resolution cases where they work with the IRS to resolve tax problems that companies have gotten themselves into. And when we started working with Jason Wiggum and his company, I asked him, what is your average order? If we can start with your average order, then we get a sense of how the digital marketing funnel is going to work as we move people through that funnel. Now, Wiggum Law is a multi-million-dollar company, so this average value can shift. They can land some big whales too. But it's a good rule of thumb for this example. If we know their average order and we know what it costs them to build their website, when it was all said and done, it was about $40,000 to build their site. They've got a great site with lots of content connected to HubSpot and great SEO, great graphics and content and all that. But once they built that site, that one-time charge is done, and they're going to do now monthly marketing, and they're spending about $5,500 a month with us to do SEO and content and HubSpot and social media. And they spend about $25,000 a month on Google Ads to run a Google Ads program. And based on that monthly spend, they get top of funnel activity. In this case, 3,000 monthly visitors to their website. If they're getting 3,000 visitors, now we want to start to see some conversions. And in this case, they have a decent conversion rate. 8% of those visitors make contact. They either make a call to the office, they give us their email address because they interact with content, or they somehow are no longer anonymous and we know who they are. Based on those inquiries, they are converting about 6% of them into sales. And at that average order, we're seeing 14 sales a month at 91,000 growth or 60,000 net of marketing spend. Now, why is this important? It's important because I want to see you doing this at your company. I want you to also have a thumbnail for how you're tracking your spend to return. And once you start the process of doing this, you can do it monthly, and then you can ask the question, what channels should we improve upon? And what can we change in this formula? What can we control and change in this formula to get improvements? And I'll tell you right now, if you haven't noticed already, that a 6% conversion rate is pretty low, isn't it? So that's a place for Wiggum Law to improve. Now, most law firms don't have a sales team. They have intake people. And that's one of the reasons why that 6% conversion is there. But on the upside, they also get some orders that are in the six figures when they land a large corporate account. So that also influences this as well. All right, so I have a new book that just came out. The book is on Amazon. It goes into great detail on all the things that we've talked about so far in the webinar. I can't recommend this book enough. I'm super proud of it, and it's highly relevant to today. It includes the 4 steps and all of the stuff around AI that we're talking about, digital marketing in the age of AI. So I want to talk about one more thing, and then we're going to go look at a few websites, and we'll open it up to the group. How do you build a team to get this work done? Well, first of all, know that there are 3 disciplines that have to come together to drive digital marketing. And it is a marketing activity. This is a marketing activity, not a design activity. We sometimes see designers leading marketing strategy. We want your marketing team to lead strategy. And we want to make sure that you have the different roles in place. Now, I'm going to identify for you 8 different hats that people wear. Now, you don't have to have these folks all employed at your company, but we've got to have the hat on somebody. And hat number 1 is the strategic digital marketing lead. Who is responsible for the ROI slide that I shared with you? That is your digital marketing lead. In many Vistage companies, the CEO wears that hat. And that may not be the best use of that person's time, right? Now, underneath the digital marketing lead, there's 2 key digital marketing roles. One is what we'd call a funnel manager. They're responsible for email marketing and all things HubSpot. Next is the digital marketing manager. They're responsible for all things Google, SEO, Google Ads, web stats, the Google Search Console, right? These are 2 different roles. I've seen some companies combine these 2 roles into one, and that's a mistake, right? You generally want 2 different people handling this. And in many cases, these are going to be external folks, maybe an agency or a contractor. Now, definitely you want to have that project manager or coordinator, the agency support person. This is an internal role. And in many companies, we start with this person, the coordinator, maybe working with a key leadership person until we hire a marketing lead. But these are 4 critical roles for digital marketing. And then we have the set of contractors, and there's 4 key roles among the world of contractors. We need to have writers, we need to have media people, graphic designers, and then people that can host and maintain the website. If you have a WordPress website, host at WP Engine or a company like that, and stay on top of your plugins and all the things that need to be stayed on top of for WordPress sites. Okay, I'm going to leave you, before we go look at some sites, I'm going to leave you with questions that I give to CEOs to ask their team. So if you're in marketing, this is the takeaway from today. Who is visiting your website and what is their intent? We've got to get behind the data on your website and understand who is visiting the website and what is their intent. We need to measure conversion rates and tie that back to ROI. We need to know if our content is benefit focused or company focused. I still see a lot of websites where the content is company focused. We want it customer focused and benefit focused. You want to know what is happening with your digital marketing metrics. Are they improving? Are they getting worse? Do they not even make any sense? Are we not even tracking them? What is happening with digital marketing metrics? And we want to know how to improve that sales funnel, which means you've got to identify the sales funnel and know how it all works. So let's take some action. Let's look at a few websites in the next 15 minutes, and I'll also show you a little bit of how to use ChatGPT. I'm also going to make an offer to you for a follow-up consult if you'd like 30 minutes with me. You can book a meeting using the barcode. I'll also send out my meeting link to everyone that attends after this webinar. So let me stop sharing and let's open it up to the group. Yeah, Abby, what we'd like to do is ask the group if there's somebody that would like me to review their website to go ahead and raise their hand, and I'll take a look. And I know, Abby, that you had a question as well that we can tackle if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Does anybody in the group that's listening want me to take a look at their specific website? If you do, raise your hand and put the domain name in the chat. So it looks like Grace raised her hand. So if Grace, if you could tell us what your company name is, I'm going to go to Google and pull it up. Abby, are you able to communicate directly with Grace?
Let me see.
You might have to turn her mic on too.
Okay. I'm not the host.
Let me see if I can do that.
I can't.
Yeah, so Grace, you're unmuted now, so you should be able to talk.
Hi, yeah, the chat is disabled for me.
Okay, good. So tell me your company name, Grace.
It's 12pointsbusinessadvisors.com.
Interesting that Google is starting to put in 12 points business. There we go. We'll do a search on your company name. So, is this it here? 12 Point Business Advisors?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. So it's interesting. I want to first showcase why you're number one in this search. The reason that this website came up number one in the search is because the title tag matches what I searched on. And this is the title tag. It's a key element of SEO. This is your meta description, which also has 12 points in it. And then the company name and the URL matches it. So this drives search results. When you have an exact match in the title tag, which you can control, the domain name, and in the meta description, this is one of the reasons why they're number one. Let's go take a look at the website. Grace, is this the right website?
Yep, you got it.
Okay. So Grace, what I'm going to do is give you really quick feedback on the website based on some of the things we talked about in the webinar. Does that work for you, Grace?
That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so here is the big takeaway from today. By far, the biggest thing is the use of the banner image and the tagline, right? So the first thing that we see on this website is 12 Points Business Advisors. Great. I know where I am. I know that they're business advisors. Love that. Don't know exactly what kind of advisors yet, but we know that they help businesses. But then when I get to the tagline, I see welcome to 12 Point Business Advisors. Well, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm already here. I know who you are. Why not make this value added? Why not make this some content that talks about your key benefits and the reason to move forward with you, right? So we can do a much better tagline here. And then I get a little bit more information when I see this tagline, a personal approach to business transactions. And I see the word business transactions, and I think the users are going to start to think, well, maybe you're doing M&A, maybe you're doing buy sells for businesses. But we don't know. We don't know for sure. And what's challenging for us, Grace, is that many people won't read this block of text, right? So they need to get that key message in the first 2 points here. And then we see a stock image of two guys, looks like they're maybe shaking hands and stuff, but there's probably a stronger image that we can tie to the key value that you bring. And now now we start to see going through merger selling, evaluate and assess the feasibility. Now, this is the kind of content we want to see in the tagline. So let's do this. Let's go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to start a new chat. And I'm going to ask the question, write a few homepage taglines for the website for the company. 12 points. I'm going to write out 12 like you guys do. And it was business advisors. Now, what I'm going to see if I want to see if ChatGPT will scan your website. All right, so here's a starting point for some homepage taglines. Now, what I'm going to ask the tool to do is to get into more detail. And you guys can see what I'm writing, right?
Yep.
Can you see how I'm working with this tool to get at a tagline that's going to be more? Now, I'm not sure, Grace, exactly which, if you do some of these things, but you can see now how these taglines get right to the heart of what you do, right? I kind of like this one, maximizing value with expert business buying and selling consulting services, right? Now, when people come to sign, instead of seeing welcome, they immediately see, oh, wow, that's what they do. And that's what I need. So now that I know there's a connection between what I need and what you do, I'm going to dive deeper in your content. And if they dive deeper in the content, they're more likely to become a sales lead or a conversion. I like this one too, guiding you to success in business transactions. That is a little bit better, and we can expand upon it a little bit when buying and selling a business or whatever. You can put a few more words in there. And then the next thing that really lends itself to this website is, what are the benefits? Why use 12 points? Can't I just do this on my own? So what are the benefits of working with you? Now, this is great. I love the blog posts. And in the blog post, it looks like there's good content there. But I want to see benefits on the website. So let's go ask ChatGPT. So now we have the starting point of a benefits checklist, right, Grace? So now we can use this benefit checklist and make sure these things are covered on our web pages. And then when you talk to your customers, you can ask them the question, what value did you get in working with us? And when you do that, you'll find, wow, people really come to us because of our negotiation skills, right? This is something that we're really good at doing. People didn't realize they needed it, but when they worked with us, it was great, right? So you might feature that on your homepage as a benefit. And so before you get to our team, let's get those benefit statements listed in here, and perhaps some content on how you work, right? The process of getting started. Excellent. Grace, was that beneficial for you?
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Okay, we've recorded all this, so you'll have it. We've got about 5 minutes. Abby, why don't we do one more?
Sure.
Yeah, so if somebody else wants to raise their hand, we can do We can do one more, or I know Abby's got one teed up too, if we want to do hers. Abby, why don't we do yours?
Sure.
Yeah, you mentioned something when we got started. What was it? You're muted.
Oh, sorry. We were hoping to get more engagement with our posts and finding ways to keep our audience engaged with our content.
All right, let's go back to ChatGPT and ask that question, right? So let me start a new one. Now I know about Abby's company. So I would put in here, I'm going to use the company name, Port Lighting. And let's use social media content as an example, just to give it more focus. So when you go to the prompt in ChatGPT, consider this tool to be your personal marketing consultant and ask them the specific question that you would ask a marketing consultant. And then once you get the responses back, engage with the tool to get better responses or, improve what you're seeing. So
Are you using the free version of ChatGPT? Angela,
this should be the paid version.
Okay.
I'm logged into the Intuitive Websites workspace. So once again, we get a checklist of the things we got to focus on in our content. And this is all really good. And then one of the follow-up questions I would ask is, how can Port use approved projects and case studies to engage readers in social? Because we know that not everyone allows you to use their event, right, Abby? But some people do. So
Yep.
the events that you guys do, like the Brady event and all that, if they say, yeah, you guys can tell the world that you helped us with this, that we feel like that would engage people in social.
Right. Okay.
And so once again, for marketing people, this is a checklist, right? This helps you do your job better because now we can check everything off and make sure we're doing these things, right? And when you do that, you will have more engaged folks with in your social content. And we know that with social media, it's very top of funnel. And we know that the more that we put into it, the more we get out. And we also know that with social is really driven by the people on the channel. So the more we can get people to share our content and engage with it by telling others, the better opportunity we have. We have, this is the Port page. So one of the things right off the top is, when you're writing social content, if you're starting with we and things that we're doing, try to write more content that starts with you, what you will get, or what was done for others, events and things that you put together so they can see the value that was put together for others.
Sure.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to open it up now for questions or thoughts or any kind of feedback. I know Philip Thomas is here with us. If he has any thoughts or questions, we're also recording this, so quite a few people might see this in the future as well. Any questions on your end, Phil?
No, I think this is really helpful because when we first met, you made the point that it's not about what you think. It's got to be client or customer centric. It's got to be directed towards how they're going to receive benefits. And I think that's one of the most common things that's backwards on a lot of websites.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's an easy fix. And I would encourage people to make progress toward fixing it. Don't feel like you have to overhaul everything. Just adding one or two key benefit statements, improving your homepage tagline, all of that moves you forward.
Yeah, I think this has been really helpful, Tom. I know there's a lot of people that I work with that you met that are really going back and reevaluating how they're messaging and what kind of response they're starting to get. So it's been very helpful.
Excellent. Well, it was a pleasure being here. Thanks so much for having me, Abby and Philip. And
Thank you.
I hope you all, do really well. And I wish you great success with your marketing.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.